Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of College Football UK, brought to you by the AAW Network. I am your host, Fletch, and as always, I am joined by Nick, Sam, and Gary. Gents, how are we this week?
All good.
Yeah,
Good to see we've
just,
got a full house for the
yeah.
first time in a while. Good to see everybody.
It is. It is. Okay, so we're now into week 12. No, actually, no, we're into week 13 of the
Yes.
college
13.
football season in 2025.
Terrifyingly, we've got what's really miserable about the fact that we're in week 13. It's already in week 13. We've only got college football for a couple of more weeks. Why is it so short? Why?
Yeah. I say we're into week 13. There are 2 weekends left of the regular season, but there is still so much to talk about. Today, we're gonna look at what happened in week 12. We're gonna have a look at we're going to go bowling as well. Or at least that's the idea is we're gonna go bowling. Some may not be able to join us. Before we get into it, though, don't forget you can follow us in the AAW network on social media. Join our free to join Discord server where you can find all the relevant links and information in the description of this episode. If you are on YouTube, they are right below everybody's beautiful faces, and if you are listening on Spotify or Apple, you will find them in the app in which you use to listen to us. Right, lads. First up, we've got Nick's news. Let's get straight into it.
Oh, you've got
Oh,
to be doing the hokey cokey.
okie dokie. Some sad news to start with. For those that are familiar with Netflix's Last Chance U, the last two series of the football um, section, because they did four series on football and then they moved to basketball. The last two series of the football were Laney College. Their athletic director, John Beam, who was their head coach when Netflix were there, last Thursday he was shot on campus. Tragically, on Friday, that um, Beam died from his injuries. And then on Monday, a 27-year-old man was charged with his murder, and Cedric Irving Jr. is facing 50 years if convicted. I remember watching this. I watched Last Chance U. I really enjoyed it. Um, so that's really sad. And there's not much else you can say other than, you know, the country always has always had a gun problem. Until you sort yourselves out, it is what it is. I'm sick of bashing the same drum, but it is.
Yeah.
Um,
That an ex-player as well, isn't it? The person who's up for it. I'm hearing an ex-player of his or somebody who used to play.
possibly, yeah. Oh, I think he was an ex-student, certainly. I don't know
Mm,
whether he's a player.
okay.
Um, Moving on, Arkansas Athletic Director Hunter Yarachek has been named the new chairman of the College Football Playoff Committee. Utah Athletic Director Mark Harlan has replaced Hunter Yarachek as a member on the selection committee. These moves were to counter the resignation of Baylor Athletic Director Mark Rhodes, who resigned for personal reasons amid a university investigation.
Oh dear.
Um, yeah. A private capital plan to infuse 2.4 billion, that's a B for billion, into the Big Ten has been opposed by USC and Michigan. So maybe the rules on that 2.4 billion was something to do with cheating, and Michigan said, well, if we're not allowed to cheat, then we don't want the money. I don't know. Um,
Or was it 2.4 billion that is going to go equally to all member
quite,
teams
I
and maybe
possibly
USC
yes.
and Michigan went,
It
we want
wasn't going
more.
to go equally. It was going to go on a tiered system. It was going to go on a tiered system.
Mhm.
So
But
I know everyone gets hurt feelings over the name Michigan and everyone wants to. No, I have spoke to a couple of people that knock around Michigan quite a bit. there is a vehement opposition to private capital being brought into college football, and they've threatened to go. We'll speak about it on another day. But if this gets approved, Michigan are already looking at going. Like once the next grant of rights is up, not signing another one and going independent if it gets approved.
Fair enough. Moving on, Dayton Raiola, younger brother of Dylan Raiola, has decommitted from Nebraska. He's now the seventh highest rated player who is yet to commit to a school for next year. It also leaves Nebraska without a QB for 2026. So I would expect them to jump into the portal pretty quickly as soon as the season's done for a QB. As they've got one ready committed for 27, but they don't have a 2026 QB yet. So I expect them to be in the portal for a QB pretty sharply. And finally, two coaching carousel moves. Lane Kiffin denies rumours that Ole Miss have issued him with an ultimatum regarding his future. He keeps being touted around LSU and Florida. We had this discussion the other week about whether those jobs are actually an upgrade, given the LSU issues off the field and Florida's issues on the field. Whether Ole Miss he's better where he is, I don't know. But he's denied that he's been given an ultimatum. But I kind of get it, even if that's true. Ole Miss need to know what he's doing, and other teams need to know what he's doing as well. So either way, whether it's true or not, you need to get a move on. And finally, Virginia Tech have appointed James Franklin as their new head coach. The 49 million he was owed by Penn State through 2031 has now been reduced to 9 million. Now, we had a discussion the other week, a few weeks ago, about this, and we said about would he take a lower deal off a new so that Penn State ended up paying him more, which would give his new college more money to pay players as opposed to paying him. But that's obviously not the way that he's gone. And, Penn State are off the hook for $40 million.
Oh,
I think this is a really good move because in the same way I've just talked about Lane Kiffin, Virginia Tech have moved quickly. They have got their guy. Bearing in mind, as soon as January comes around, the portal opens. So, all these teams that don't have a coach need to get a move on. Auburn have already said that they want to get their new coach in the week after the season is finished. So Virginia Tech have pulled a blinder because they've got probably the best guy on the market. They've got him before anybody else, and they can start about getting ready for next season and getting sorted. So, yeah.
This was one of
Onwards
the
and upwards.
This was one of the biggest complaints about Bill Belichick at UNC as well, though, because the deal to hire him wasn't finalized until after that window would shut for the portal. So you'd completely screwed yourself. Like hiring him so late, you'd screwed yourself out of so much that like it's such a good idea to just get ahead of it, and then you can hit the ground running,
Yeah.
especially with a hire like someone like James Franklin.
I was reading that some of the Penn State commits for next year have decommitted already because
I was wondering.
They wanted to play with Franklin as opposed to play for Penn State. So it might be a case of some of those committals that he had lined up at Penn State are now going to jump ship to Virginia Tech. And the other thing is he's also jumping to the ACC as well.
Yeah,
So
I was gonna wonder about that. I was gonna ask whether or not you feel this is him kind of going, can't beat Ohio State. It's too tough. It's too tough a conference. I'm going to go to the ACC, where we all know the ACC is the weakest of the four. And if he turns Virginia Tech around, there is no guaranteed, top of the tree. Yes, we always normally think top of the ACC is Clemson, FSU, Miami, but it's always in flux. It's never always, set at the top. Does he think that, it's an easier conference to kind of get over the hump with?
It might be. I think the other thing is you have to look and say he's not in the line for any NFL job. He's not
Nope.
gonna. I don't think he's gonna get an NFL job. If you don't want the LSU job because of everything off the field, and Florida isn't attracting you on the field, Virginia Tech is probably one of the better, unless it's Auburn. And again, like you just said, if you want to stay out of the SEC, that rules out Auburn as well. Virginia Tech is probably one of the better jobs to take.
Hmm.
So, I guess
Absolutely.
he's probably played a blinder, if you like.
Hmm.
Certainly Virginia Tech have.
Well, yeah.
Also worth noting though that Virginia Tech, number one, has the best entrance in college football. We've agreed on this multiple times on this podcast.
Yes.
We know it's the best entrance in college football. But their board of it isn't quite a board of trustees or something. Is a slightly different. They have added over the next 4 to 5 years 230 million to the athletics budget. They are seriously committed to over the next few years transforming their athletics department. This is the best time to get in at somewhere like Virginia Tech, where you are going to be given a lot of resources and a lot of support. And clearly, look, if that's what they want to do, we've seen NFL teams do it, we've seen college teams do it. You think you're making the right hire anyway, but clearly they know and they're seriously confident with James Franklin. They wanted him over the line quickly because they wanted him in the door, and it's a very good time to be there at Virginia Tech. You're going to get support. You're going to get backing from the AD, and you're going to get time and resources that you've never seen before at Virginia Tech. So it's also like from James Franklin's perspective, great place to go because they are seriously committed to athletics right now.
Yeah, and I guess, as you say, if they're that committed and they're looking at the long term, the 4 or 5 years, as you say, and they're putting money in and everything else, then he may feel that it gives him then that time to build his process, build his team, build, the James Franklin way at Virginia Tech, whilst also utilizing the portal and that NIL money that may well be floating around. So
Yeah,
maybe that was one of the things that he demanded, because we've all seen at Penn State that over time he builds a good, successful system and a good, successful organization. So he didn't want a short-term fix. And it sounds like he's gone to a perfect opportunity for him as well as for Virginia Tech, because they are also in that long-term planning strategy sort of thought process.
yeah, absolutely. Nick,
That's
is
it
that
for the
everything?
news. That's it.
Gary's Gazette, is there anything that was posted to Gary's Gazette this week? Sam Supplement, has Sam supplemented anything this week? You're on mute, Sam.
Sam's supplement is a quiet supplement this week.
Sorry, because I've got a
Printed on
cough and I don't
invisible
want to be
ink.
coughing. I don't want to be coughing on camera and on here. The only thing I've got is more of it's a wider thing about college sports as a whole rather than college football. But essentially, it's just that the College Sports Commission, which is a new enforcement agency for college sports, has asked all schools under its review to agree to waive their right to challenge future punishments in court as part of an agreement that would give the agency significant power to investigate and punish rule breakers in the era of nil deals and direct athletic payments. So essentially, they're going to approach them to say that you don't have the right to challenge. Now, I can understand the reason why they've done it, because I suppose the point is it gives them more authority to actually properly investigate things rather than essentially accuse teams of it and then it go to court in a them versus them sort of deal. So
And
I
whichever
get
team
the
has
reason.
the most money wins. Yeah.
So I get why they've done it. But essentially what they've done is they've sent a 10-page membership agreement to all power conference schools and asked them to sign it in the next 2 weeks. The terms of agreement are designed to close loopholes that have made it difficult for the NCAA and the CSC to enforce rules established by the recent House settlement that dictate how college athletes can be paid. The agreement will not go into effect unless every school signs it.
Oh, that's interesting. It has to be unanimous. I wonder which blue school won't sign it.
And essentially what it says here is the House settlement allows each school to spend up to $20.5 million this year in direct payments to its athletes. It also empowers the CSC to make sure any name, image, and likeness deals an athlete signs with a third party are for a valid business purpose, in inverted commas, rather than a recruiting incentive.
Ooh.
College sports leaders hope that the CSC is able to use its authority to enforce a spending cap that prevents the richest schools from gaining too much of a competitive advantage.
Business reason. That's an interesting terminology, isn't it?
There's lawyers find that's lawyer talk for we're gonna fight over what does that really mean? Like, what do you
Who
mean when you
defines
say
what's a
X?
business? I mean, it's all lawyer talk, isn't it? It's all lawyer speak here. You
Yeah.
definitely get that the idea that it's the only people winning are the lawyers. But I get it that, it makes sense to say, hey, if you want us to investigate and make sure you're all above board, then don't then leave the opportunity for you to then go, don't like what you've independently come to the conclusion of, therefore we're going to sue you and take you to court, because it completely nullifies the investigation. You're right, Sam. It would just be like, well, they wouldn't go after anybody because of the fear of being sued to the within an inch of their budget.
Yeah, I think this
Uh-huh.
has obviously come off the back of the recent comments that Donald Trump has made about college nils funding. I think this has all come from that, in the sense that he essentially wants a spending cap on nil for teams, which truthfully I do think it's probably a sensible idea. I can't believe I'm agreeing with what Donald Trump is saying, but
wow.
It's one of his rare
It's not
bits
his,
of
let's be honest.
It's one of those rare bits of common sense that comes out of him every once in a blue.
That's how much it was, and it literally dropped his phone.
So yeah, I think it's good for the sport if they can introduce a spending cap on nil, but truthfully, I don't see all the college teams signing it. So
somebody's going to, to need everybody to sign it is the tricky part of that, I should imagine.
I reckon I could probably see Michigan not wanting to sign it.
Right, so 3 out of 3 is that what we're doing?
Absolutely. We all know that the team in blue won't sign that. And also, who decides on a valid business reason?
It's fine. Well, that'll all be decided, but you can all go fuck yourselves now.
You're catching strays.
You can't
today,
even argue. The thing is, though, you can't even argue. You know full well you won't sign it.
I could. Why would I?
But why would Michigan sign that?
Michigan love a loophole. That's why.
Yeah.
I don't see any reason why Michigan wouldn't. If you want any problem like that, go to the SEC.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yes, there'll be somebody in the SEC who won't sign it before it gets down to Michigan.
So, but every note in here, I've got notes on
recently,
all 3 teams. I'm just rearranging some of these notes because you can all go fuck yourselves now. Um,
I mean, you can't throw strays at me this year. So I mean,
that's a fair point.
we spent last year throwing that many strays at you
yeah,
anyway.
you run out, right? There's none left.
You wait and see. I may have got one. I may have one down there. But won't know when it's coming. Anyway, so
Must
what I
like the
want us to
next one.
do as we get past the news, we're gonna go back. We're gonna look at week 12. Some couple of particular games in which happened at the weekend that I think are of note. We had Texas A&M, who survived a 27-point deficit at halftime, came back, won the game. Oklahoma
30
got a
point
road
deficit. 30-point deficit.
got a road win over Alabama. Navy held on in a very, very tense game against USF, and Georgia won over ranked Texas team. Now everybody's been assigned the game that was put into the group chat on Monday. I want us to start though with, we'll let it get out the way. We'll let you get it out the way, Sam. Judging by the messages that were in the chat, just how bad were the refs on Saturday, Sam?
I mean, generally speaking, they weren't over the course of the whole game. They weren't bad. My biggest issue was just that first touchdown. I had a massive issue with it, and if anyone can find the image and put it in here, it was so blatant of a hold that was missed for them to then go and score on the next play. Just really royally pissed me off. As a whole, Georgia much deservedly won that game. They played so much better than we did. I was saying before we joined, I think that Georgia they turned up and wanted to win that game. They seemed like the team that had just been beaten, twice last year by Georgia and wanted to come back for revenge. That's how it felt. And yeah, they played well on every single front. The QB was playing well, the running backs were doing very well. And I mean, Kirby Smart called it perfectly, and I think that was the difference. I've said for a while that I think sometimes Sark can overthink these sorts of games, and can kind of overcomplicate things that just need to be straightforward. And also, I think that just from a Texas point of view, it was just we couldn't build up any momentum in that game because you either had, I mean, that's as obvious a hold as you're going to get if you're watching on YouTube, in my opinion.
I'd requested Sam. I found it for you. I'm not sure what you're worried about there. I can't see anything wrong with that image at all.
Looks like a hug to me. Someone is very happy to see their friend.
Yeah, we went to high school together. They wanted to just catch up. It's just a friendly hug. It's got no impact on the game or the fact that he was about to smash the QB at all.
Yeah, it was an utterly dreadful decision. But at the end of the day, that wasn't the reason why we lost. That was just the reason why we gave up the first touchdown. I mean, yeah, it was just overall Georgia were better. They deserved that win. I mean, that trick. Well, I say trick play. The random onside kick that they did halfway through the second half to reclaim the ball was just crazy. But yeah, I think just overall they deserved it, and we just looked disjointed. Like I said, if Manning wasn't throwing to his targets, if he was throwing to his targets, they were not catching the ball; they were just dropping it, and it meant that Texas had no momentum going forward. And I think if I remember the stats correctly, I think that this year is Sarkisian's worst rushing performances, or worst rushing team, so to speak, in about 18 years or something ridiculous. He's never had a worse running game than I think it said 2007 or something very similar. So yeah, that's something that we really need to look at for next year. I think I think CJ Baxter, he came off that horrendous injury. I think he's pretty much. I think he's probably going to be looking at moving into the NFL next year, and then I think we need to look at someone more than Wisner, because he's a great running back, but he needs someone more
Can't just have
physical.
one, can you?
Yeah, we need someone more physical who can do the hard yards. He's not that sort of running back. He's he's a bit more like Kyron Williams or those type. They're a bit more sort of agile and you play them in screenplays and that. So I do think we need to look at that, and then we need to obviously, look at sorting out that wide receiver core, because at the moment it's Ryan Wingo or no one. At the moment, the way that we're playing. So yeah, I think or Livingston, who's obviously Manning's roommate. So I think we've got some really good wide receivers that are ready to come through. You've got the likes of Jamie French and the other guy. So we've got wide receivers. We need to start looking at getting those involved and potentially moving on a couple that aren't particularly good. But yeah, college playoffs over for us now, which no more agonizing on whether we would or wouldn't get in, having to win games. I think it's time to accept we're not going to be in. I did hear someone on some random one of the random college football chats on there saying that we can still make the playoffs as a potential 8-3 team, or whatever it would be. No,
You'd be
9-3 team, 9-3 team, and I just thought that if we get in with a 9-3 record, then it is based upon the fact that we're in the SEC and we're called Texas.
Yep.
Because there's no way we deserve to be in there. So,
no.
We'll wait. I mean, we'll if it comes to it and we are in the playoffs, I'm sure Nick will be ready to rage against something. So,
I
would never.
Nick's got nothing to rage about. The fact his team's even in the playoffs with the wins that they've had. Anyhow,
yeah. So it's the implications of this game. Unfortunately, you the talent that you lost in the off season.
I don't think that gets talked about enough, because I remember that opening game when we played against Ohio, and they were talking about how Ohio had lost all of these great players and they'd lost half of their team. They didn't talk about the fact that we had 5 new players on that O-line. And that never really got mentioned. And I mean, I don't want to put things on, but our best guy who's been on our O-line has been our freshman left guard, and he's made countless mistakes as well. Yeah. But I'm glad we can now not have to worry about is Arch Manning going to be in the 2026 draft.
The other thing is, we came into that first week and it was all Texas a favorite, Texas a favorite, Texas a favorite, and it's like, I don't get me wrong, I fell for it too. I picked Texas to win the SEC. So many people fell for it. I mean, not just people like us, but the supposed professionals,
people who know
what
they're talking about.
The professionals of the game. Everyone was saying, "Oh, this is Texas's division to lose," and everything. And it's like, it's almost like you were on a hide into nothing before you even started. You were set up to fail. Not set up to fail. That's not fair. But you were.
If you'd have won it,
up
everyone
against...
would have been like, "Oh well, yeah, we knew you would." And if you didn't,
had your backs to the wall. You were up against it straight from the off, and there was no sort of wiggle room as to, well, this is their situation. It was just like, yes, that's it. They're going to win. We watched them last year, and they're going to be better this year. And it's like, well, no, they're not. And,
I think people seem to underestimate the impact that the last 2 years of drafting has had on this team, because we've lost. I think the second, if not the most players to the draft in a 2-year period. In that 2-year period of the last 2 years, and I think you look at how good the offensive line and the defensive line was last year. They were, the defensive line was one of the best, and I think, to be honest, our defense as a whole was one of the best college football, and we lost a good chunk of those players, and that was the problem. Is that you're then expecting, freshmen, juniors, sophomores to step up and replace that, and it doesn't always work.
Certainly not instantaneously, anyway.
No, I think you it's all right if you lose one or two pieces, but when you're losing 7, 8, 9, it's a lot more. It's a lot different.
It's a nice hoodie.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Moving on though, because I would say that had huge playoff implications. That's more than likely kicked Texas out of the playoffs. Georgia have been handed a huge leg up in the playoffs. Also in the SEC, sorry, that win for Georgia came with another leg up for them in a loss for Alabama. Double the kick in the teeth for Sammy in the fact that loss came to Oklahoma. This was a very, very odd game because, like, again, I get some of these games. You look at the box scores. Games are not played on box scores. I have to keep telling people this every week. Bama had 8 minutes 56 seconds more in time of possession. They had nearly double the net yards. They had less penalties. Oklahoma had 138 net passing yards. Bama had 152 yards after the catch.
Oh,
They had more yak than Oklahoma did net passing yards. That's a crazy stat. The problem for Bama, and this is where you can dominate the box score all you like on certain nice numbers, but you aren't going to do anything of any note, is when you can't keep hold of the ball and you can't have good ball security. Throughout the game, Bama had an interception. That was a pick six. They had a missed field goal that turned into a field goal for Oklahoma. They had a fumble that turned into a field goal for Oklahoma. That's 13 points
There was
off.
another fumble as well.
There was, and that was on the return, wasn't it? That ended up being a touchdown for so 20 of Oklahoma's 23 points came on Alabama either not keeping hold, like not good ball security, or turning it over in terms of like a missed field goal. Dominate the box score all you like, keep hold of the bloody football. Stop being silly with the football. The officiating was problematic. Alabama's to be fair, on the pick six, Oklahoma should have been pulled up for a pass interference. It was, I can't remember who it was, but there was a clothesline that went on. But then again, you look at Alabama's touchdown, they had as good as, I think it was turn it over on downs, but then comes a pass interference call on Oklahoma, which was the right call, soft, but the right call.
Just about the right call.
Then Alabama can punch it in from the 1 yard line. Like, officiating also played its part, but the big problem for Alabama was not Oklahoma being particularly fantastic. It was not being safe and playing well with the football.
Yeah, you can ask Seattle that as well. They had a similar issue.
Talk to Texas A&M.
Yeah, well, I say, in the SEC as well, Texas A&M. I mean, it was all about to come good for Georgia. All about to come good for Georgia. Game was over at half time for Texas A&M, wasn't it?
Everyone thought so. 30 points down. Couldn't keep hold of the ball.
They were 27 down. It was 30-3, and they had 28 unanswered points to win 31-30.
Yeah. Sorry, 30-3 down. They couldn't get out of their way. I think this tells you their leading rusher, their running back, had 8 carries for 28 yards. 28 yards on the ground. But then you think, well, that's terrible. But then South Carolina's leading rusher, 3 carries for 30 yards. It was not a game that was played on the ground. It was a game that was turned on its head by a fumble return for a touchdown. Much like you've just said there, you cannot win the game. 4 turnovers Texas A&M had, 2 interceptions, a fumble. It just bad ball management. But somehow, after being, as you say, 27 points down, 30-3 down at the half, they must have been given the loudest, biggest kick up the backside, rollicking in the locker room any team has probably had, because they came out and scored 21 unanswered points in the third quarter to get back in the game, and then score the winning touchdown in the fourth quarter to eke the game out 31-30, the biggest comeback in school history. Managed to maintain their 100% record, managed to stay unbeaten. But wow, was just a game, the archetypal game of 2 halves. This one, where just did they underestimate the Gamecocks, which is silly. We've talked about them a couple of weeks ago, saying they've underperformed and underwhelmed, but they are always a tough game in the SEC. You don't get an easy game. I don't know what they was, but they just did not start that first half. Maybe the fumble knocked their confidence and they had to kind of regroup. But regroup they did to score, as you say, 28 unanswered points in the second half to shut out the Gamecocks for the whole of the second half and to win 31-30 with I believe they stopped turnover on downs at the last couple of seconds. It was some comeback. It'll stand them in good stead in terms of battle hardened, whatever else, because it was probably their toughest win to date. Whether or not people have now found a way to get at them, who knows? We shall see. But they are now still unbeaten. They are now still ranked 3rd. They are 10-0. They're unbeaten in the SEC. But my God, they were made to work for it this week.
Absolutely. And you say there about it being a tale of 2 halves. I've got the first and second half stats here throughout. Passing yards. Well, still, like I said, well, it was 30-3 at the half to South Carolina. Total yards, 312 for South Carolina, 132 for A&M in the first half. In the second half, it was 76 for South Carolina, 371 for Texas A&M. You say there it's not about rushing yards. You're absolutely right, because in the first half, South Carolina had 108, Texas A&M had -9. In the second half, South Carolina had 13, Texas A&M had 73. As far as passing yards go, 204 for South Carolina, 141 for A&M in the first half, 63 for South Carolina, and 298 for Texas A&M in the second half.
Yeah, it's just mental. And in the first half, the South Carolina's, they were chunk plays as well. I think that one of the TDs from halfway, like 50, 60 yards. The other one was like a 1-play drive, 80 yards, bang, gone, done. It was like, they were giving up big chunk mistake plays, which was not A&M football as it's been all season. It was just, they just were not at the races at all.
I think it's also worth mentioning that, obviously we mentioned about Texas and their wide receivers dropping passes and such. And I think I just want to give out a mention to the 2 wide receivers, Ashton Bethel-Roman, who had an absolute monster of a game. 4 catches for 139 yards and a touchdown. And also to the other wide receiver in Isaiah Williams, who again, he only had 3 catch, 50 yards, but also had a touchdown. Both of these guys coming out of 2024 had a total of 6 catches between them in 2024 for their respective, both for Texas A&M. This year, Bethel-Roman already has 16 catches for 381 yards, bearing in mind of those 381 yards, 139 came in that last game.
Last game, yeah.
So I just think it's good mention because we know that Casey Conception's likely going to go in the draft this year, and for Texas in terms of looking forwards, having those two guys who are both freshmen coming in and playing and being
Stepping
able to
up
take
and,
over that wide receiver grouping is a good position for Texas being in going forward, especially as the fact that it's possible that Marcel Reed may return, depending on how the situation goes for him. He may return for another year. So, yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, he's obviously playing his third year now. So he is, I think, would then be draft eligible, but he may decide to stay another year. If he does, he's got two wide receivers off the bat that he knows he has a good connection with, which is, one of the things that you're always crying out for.
Yeah.
I mean, even the tight end is a second year. Well, no, he's had a few years, so possibly not. He's probably going to be leaving as well. So, yeah, I just think it's interesting to talk about that. Obviously, with the fact that we're sort of having issues with wide receivers and such.
Yeah.
And Reed, can he declare for the draft?
He's had 3 full years.
Is he 4 years out of high school then? Because that's the
3
thing,
years out
isn't
of
it?
high
Yeah,
school.
3 years
3
out of
years
high
out.
school. So I don't think he can't then declare yet, can he? He has to. I think it has to be 4 years out of high school, not necessarily 4 years played at college.
Oh, I thought it was 3 years.
3 years.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, because you've just got to if you redshirt for a year, then you have to have 3 years playing. So that would be your 4 years. But if you don't, then you're draft eligible after 3 years. So he could technically. The thing is, you don't tend to see a lot unless they're good, really good talent. Tend to go within 3 years. So I could see him potentially sticking around for another year.
Sure, the money wouldn't hurt at Texas A&M either.
So with that game, Texas A&M come back from a 27-point deficit at halftime. They win 31-30. In another game that has implications on completely the opposite side of the playoffs. A game that saw 40 points throughout the first 3 quarters and then 39 in the fourth quarter. Navy go ahead against USF and manage to hold on. Nick, as our resident hater of the US military and service members.
Obviously, yeah.
Oh, wow. Nick, you were planning on going to the US at some point, right?
Yeah. Obviously, that's my visa being revoked.
Yeah. Well, sorry, as the resident supporter of a team who likes to beat on the military.
There we go. That's better.
Tell us about this one.
This was a anything you can do, I can do game, because it was tit for tat, and the difference in the 3 points that won the game is the cost of the interception itself. Because, like you said, the box, the box score doesn't tell it, but like you said, yeah, the fourth quarter was a little bit crazy, but it was that interception in the second quarter that South Florida gave up, and then Navy with that went down the and scored a field goal, and it's those 3 points that off that interception that won them the game. But I mean, this game was just attack. I don't think either team knew how to defend. 500 South Florida 556 total yards to 524 from Navy. I think basically they just left the defense at home. It was literally like, right, okay. And even in the preview, it was all about could South Florida stop the Navy run? No, they couldn't. But the problem was Navy couldn't stop South Florida throwing the ball either. So it was it was you couldn't take your eye off it because if you took your eye off it, someone was going to score. It was one of those games that being a neutral, of which I wasn't either way. Um, being a neutral, you couldn't help but enjoy that game. Um, Heinrich became the leading scorer for Navy with his touchdown. So
Yeah.
he's scored more points now than receiving yards leader, I think it was. But yeah, I mean, I can't I can't fault that. I didn't watch all of it because I was watching other things, but it's one of those games where you see what's going on in the background and you think I need to start paying more attention to that game. But yeah, it was highly entertaining and like I said, it was just tit for tat. What you can do, I can do, and it was pass versus run.
There were a total of 1,080 offensive yards in this game.
Not a defensive masterclass, one would suggest.
Correct. That is absolutely correct. And that includes a.
Both teams had over
Yeah.
20 first downs. It's like,
It's literally like a practice scrimmage, wasn't it? You just bring the offense.
yeah,
Where's the defense? Nah, don't worry about him.
And believe it or not, we are by now. If you're particularly a statistician with regards to football, you will be familiar with probably this kind of stat: average yards per play. Now, when we're talking both on the ground and in the air, you expect it to tend to be around the 5 to 5.5 yard mark for a good offensive game, because you incorporate running plays where, look, if you're a running back, 4 yards a game. 4 yards a rush is a very good average to have. USF had an average of 8.1 yards per play. Navy had an
8
average of 7.3. You were averaging a first down every two
1.5
plays.
get. Yeah, every one. Wow.
So, like, you could look at. I want to know what the third down rate is because, like, I'm gathering
Did
that
they
they were
even
both
get
like
to a
0
third
and
down?
0.
there,
Yeah.
right.
Naught of naught.
Third down efficiency for South Florida was 5 from 12. Navy's was 5 from 14, and then the fourth down efficiency they both had 1 from 2.
They actually
But
got to fourth down when you consider.
you know, it's like I know what Fletch just said there about total yards. Even in passing alone, passing yards per pass, South Florida 10.8, Navy 9.8. Rushing yards per rush, 5.6 for South Florida and 6.4 for Florida. As I said, this was just right. You do what you do. Right now, we're going to do what we do. Right now, I'll do what I do. And it was just right. Okay,
Okay,
back
you
and
get the ball
forth, back
back.
and
Here you
forth.
go. Your
Oh yeah,
turn.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm like, no,
you're
no,
sat
no,
on midfield going like
no, Mr.
It's
Running Back.
tennis matching. Yeah.
No, Mr. Running Back. You go. Hey, you go.
that.
Enjoy your day. Have a nice day. Um, but that again, that was a game that had huge implications at the other side of the playoffs. That has G5 implications on the playoffs. That has actual ranking
Hmm. You
implications.
get into some of the questions about the ranking there because I'm curious about why Navy aren't showing up.
Well, we are very close. So the what game I wanted to, well, I say game, I want to run through. We're gonna go bowling, right? Or at
Bowling Green? No.
least we're going bowling in a couple of weeks. And it's our job right now to say who's allowed on the minibus with us to go bowling and who we're gonna say no at the door. You're not coming on, you can't go bowling. Not
You haven't
happening.
got the shoes.
There are people who have bought the tickets, they're on the bus, they're there already. We're talking Sam's team, you're on there. Nick's team, you're on there. My team's on there. Gary, we'll talk
No.
about you in a minute.
You're driving the bus. You're not needed.
2 years
Not
in
the
a
way
row.
they're playing. I wouldn't trust them with the bus.
Well, don't get anywhere near us on the bus. Jeez.
So there are teams that we know aren't even going to try and get on the bus. They're staying home when we go bowling. However, we do have a list. Now, I'm going to start with teams that, if you are unfamiliar, if you are new to college football and bowling, and bowl season is something that's new to you, have to have a minimum of a .500 record. There are X amount of bowl games a year. You have to have won a minimum of 6 games, which means you can only lose up to a maximum of 6 games. You cannot be in the first year of FBS football officially. And just being at .500 or above does not automatically guarantee you entry. If there are, let's just say, 10 bowl games, that's 2 teams. I know there's a lot more than that. That's 20 teams that can get in. If there are 25 teams, 5 teams can't come. But what we're going to look at is who's going to be allowed to stand in front of the bus, whether we let them in or not, right? So we'll go with the 4-win teams that with 2 games left can still, if they win out, make it onto the bus. I'm going to throw out the names, and I want. In fact, we will. We can each say, we'll go around and we'll say yes, no, maybe, I don't know. Can you repeat the question? Florida Atlantic is a
No.
4-win
No.
team, 2 wins to go.
No.
No.
No, don't think so.
I think there's too many teams in that AAC that would be more eligible than them, even if they
Okay.
won out.
Did I can't remember. I don't even think I wrote them back down. UNC.
No.
Have to win out.
Again, same reason. Too many teams above them that are more likely to be bowl eligible.
I agree with Sam, but I also agree they'll probably get an invite if they are eligible because of the Belichick storyline.
Yeah.
He's too busy at a cheerleader
So
conference.
we're saying that they'll get in because of nepotism.
Yes. Yes,
Now his son got a
basically.
job.
Teams have got in on worse things, Sam. Let's be fair. Let's be fair.
True.
Well, their remaining 2 games that they have to win both of are Duke this weekend and NC State.
Yeah, both
They
5 and
have to
5 in
win
their division.
both of them.
NC State is such a. They are literally Jekyll and Hyde. 1 week they're good, 1 week they're shocking.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
They are that classic Gattuso meme. Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
Maybe bad, sometimes maybe good.
so that game could go either way. And Duke, I think Duke are still chasing, aren't they? I think
Somewhat chasing. Well, they're technically still chasing a bowl game as well because they're only 5
Yeah.
wins. We'll get onto them in a little bit.
They're 5 and 5, but they're just 4 and 2 in the division, aren't they? So
Duke is at home. NC State is on the road. Do you see them losing one of those games?
yes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Then they can't come. They're not allowed on. Sorry, Bill. Jordan can come though. UCF.
Hey, that's what anyway.
Wow!
Wow!
Is
Wait.
she the dancing coach?
No, careful. Wherever you're going with that, let's move on.
Oh, she's a cheerleader, isn't she?
Whoa,
You know,
she's sad.
you go bowling. You like
UCF.
to have some fun.
Look at he's determined to try and keep this bus rolling.
UCF. Yeah, UCF. Are we letting UCF?
UCF, University of Central Florida, right?
Yes.
Absolutely
Correct.
not.
Get away. I mean, there's some bad teams in Florida.
I mean, they're going to go 1-1 in the next 2 games anyway, so they're not beating BYU.
I want to say, these teams have to win out. The teams that I'm going to mention up until the 5-win teams have to win out. They have to win 2
They're
out
gonna
of
do
2, no matter what. Oklahoma State and BYU. They can beat Oklahoma State. They're not beating BYU.
No.
They're not doing it. End of story. Fun fact though, they made 8 in a row from 2016 to 2023, but they will, or by our own admission here, they will miss back-to-back Super Bowls. Sorry, they will miss
I was
back-to-back
going to say
bowls in general. Sorry. Well, they
Super
will. They've
Bowls.
never been to a Super Bowl, so they will miss back-to-back Super Bowls. Do you think they're going to? I don't think so.
Well, there's all
So
sorts of bowl names these days. Maybe one is called the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
Spelled SOUP.
yeah, the Super Bowl, Campbell's Super
Super,
Bowl.
as in somebody. Yeah, and
Yeah.
and they win. The winner
The
gets a
Cam-
big ladle.
Sponsored by Campbell's.
Yeah, the Campbell's
Yeah, I
Super
said the
Bowl.
Campbell's Super Bowl. Maryland, Big Ten
Ooh.
outfit, Maryland. I say no.
Who have they got?
Getting,
Michigan and Michigan State. No,
Nope.
they're losing at least one of those games.
Yeah, they'll lose to Michigan State.
no comment.
I timed it just as he was having a drink. I just sling it in there.
Penn
I don't
State.
think Maryland are going to make it. No.
Nope. Penn State.
Penn State,
Who have they got to play?
Nebraska and Rutgers.
See, I can see 2 wins, but like we just said, there may be more teams that are
They're more deserving.
more deserving. So I would say I would say
More deserving.
yes, there is
You
a
shall say this
possibility
only once.
that I say yes, there's a possibility that Penn State could be eligible, but they may not necessarily make the bowl. Maybe they can come and carry the bags.
That'd be the water carriers.
I think that they stand a greater chance of making a bowl than Rutgers do, and they've got to play Rutgers.
Maybe
Wow,
they should
there
sit
you
at the
go.
front of the bus so that we can kick them off if if a better team qualifies.
Yeah. Well, Penn State. I think we put again. Just one more. Garrett, yes or no? Penn State.
Yep.
Sam.
No,
Nick.
Eligible, yes, not necessarily qualified due to better teams.
No worries. I'm gonna say a big fat no. I don't think they're beating Nebraska at the weekend.
they couldn't.
Liberty.
Liberty. No.
So, fun fact about Liberty.
Liberty.
And since
Liberty.
their first year in the FBS, they have not had a season where they are bowl ineligible. The only reason they were bowl ineligible that year was because it was their first year in the FBS and they weren't automatically eligible. You are automatically ineligible.
Well, I reckon Fletch is going to be a resounding no because of who they're going to be playing last game of the year.
They will. They're playing Kennesaw State. That's not happening.
Who?
However, that I could see them beating them, but I don't see them making the a bowl game.
They're not. They're too much to ask about. Too much to ask of him.
No, I don't think they are.
The run had to come to an end at some point, and yeah, this is the year that it.
Yeah, Ball State.
No.
Nope. Kent State.
They have flattered to deceive at times, Kent State. I'm going to say very similar to what Nick said about Penn State. They will probably be eligible, but there'll be better teams that get slightly in above them.
Yeah.
I'm going to say no.
They could also potentially lose to North Illinois.
I think they'll lose to Central Michigan.
Yeah, absolutely. They're still
in the desperately need to win out stage.
Wyoming. I have them as a no. Most of the teams that need 2 wins out of 2, I've said no.
Yeah, I would say no. for that one.
Who've Wyoming got to play?
They've got Hawaii the final game, so they're not going to win that.
They're going to win that. No.
No.
Auburn.
Mm.
No,
No.
they'll beat Mercer Bears.
Obviously. If they don't,
Yeah,
Well,
but
yeah.
no, they're not beating Alabama.
And they're not beating. Although, would Bama have a bye? And no, they wouldn't be getting a bye. There's no buys or anything, is there?
nope.
No. Would Bama be looking at the championship game and
I
resting?
think Bama will still be trying to chase that conference championship. It's
They
unlikely.
have to be. Well,
Thing with Auburn this year is they have been so inconsistent. They've been win loss, or win loss loss. They've been so inconsistent that to ask
Can't
them
trust
to
them.
win
You
out,
can't
you
to win
can't.
two games.
You know,
yeah.
you're asking them to win 2 games in a row that they haven't done since early in the season. So while I would say yes, they probably could get a win over Alabama, and if they played to their maximum potential, I just can't see them being that consistent based on their season performance. So I would say no for Auburn.
Which is a shame because we all had such high hopes for them.
Did?
Yeah,
I
think
right.
they were
By the way,
4-0 at one point.
next team. We had a DM this week of a friend of the show, but someone that Nick has met in person,
Oh,
saying, "I am so sorry for making you lads watch Appalachian State this year. It's the worst year that I could have made you do it, my friend." We're okay. It's okay. We've enjoyed the ride more than anything. So look, there's no hate. You've wasted an episode of our lives, but other than that,
yeah, me and
no,
Sam are never going to get that back, are we?
No,
Never going to get those hours back. So yeah,
me and Gary just we knew. That's why we didn't do anything
somehow we
that
knew.
week. We knew.
Yeah, you just
I mean,
We
me and
watched it
Sam
really on the
must have
birthday this year.
easily 10, 12, 15 hours worth of data going into that episode. It was, you know, you're
Oh,
lucky.
for
You're lucky.
60
Mrs. Fletch
people.
had a birthday that week. Otherwise, you'd have been wasted as well.
She didn't really. She's not had a birthday all year.
So,
Yeah. So I do Appalachian State. I'm gonna say a no.
I'm going to say an unfortunate no.
I'm going to say that they can.
Oh. Well,
Only because the two teams that they've got to play, Marshall and Arkansas State, again, haven't exactly been the most consistent of teams. It's unlikely that I think App will win both games, but I want them to win both games. So I'm going with my heart over my head on this one.
they've got the tough run. I think they lose to Arkansas State, so I don't think they get in. But since joining the FBS, they have only missed bowl season 3 times. The first year they got in because the bowl rule.
first year.
In 2022, they had 6 wins, but they were not eligible because 2 of those wins were against FCS teams. And in 2024, they went 5-6. One of the games was cancelled due to Hurricane Helene. I think it was Helene. Last year, so the game was cancelled and they went 5-6. Now, that just is what it is, unfortunately. So this would be the first year in which they would have played a full 12-game season, other than the first year, where they wouldn't have been eligible due to wins to have a bowl game, which is you want. And then last 2 for the 4-win teams, we have the Louisiana Raging Cajuns.
Sam's going to say yes just because he loves his Raging Cajuns. No.
I think yes. I think they beat Arkansas State. Bearing in mind, the only other team that, if you look at Louisiana's record, they have not lost to a team Oh no, that's a lie. I was about to say they haven't lost. They have lost a couple.
I would say that I'm sure they've lost to a team before.
Sure, they've lost
No,
to a
I
team.
was,
That's
I
quite.
was
I mean, why are we talking about them being bowl eligible if they haven't lost to a team?
no, I was going to say they haven't lost to a team that's 500 or below, but they have. They've lost to one of them. But the last 5-5 team that they played, or obviously weren't 5-5 at the time, but are 5-5, was Marshall, which they beat in overtime. So I'm going to say that they're going to do the same to Arkansas State, and then they have to play Louisiana Monroe, which I think they'll beat.
Yeah.
So they'll be bowl eligible, but I don't think they'll necessarily get a bowl game.
Problem you
I
have
think-
against Arkansas State is Arkansas State have got that outside chance of catching Southern
Easy though.
Georgia. Well, yeah, if Arkansas State win out and Southern Georgia lose out,
No, because it's East versus West. So James Madison have already wrapped up going to the
Yeah, they've got
on
the
the east
bowl.
side, so they've got to catch Southern Miss, which they can do obviously if Southern Miss
yeah,
lose out and Arkansas State lose out, win out. But
they would
I
win the
think obviously
West.
it'll go down to this weekend. It's unfortunate that Louisiana
But
have Arkansas
the thing
State
is though,
this
is that
weekend out too.
Southern Miss have to play South Alabama, which they'll win that. They'll win that game. So it won't matter.
Chances are no.
So I
Um,
think it's for me, I could see Louisiana getting an upset. And at the moment they are currently -2.5 favorites.
I think Arkansas State beats one of them, not both of them. So sorry, between App State and Louisiana, I think one of them gets in and one of them doesn't.
Well, then it has to be Louisiana then. Simple as.
I mean, you would say that, but
Yeah.
also you took a shot at Michigan before, so I'm going with App State on this one.
You
You
said
knew it was
App
good.
State
No, I
wouldn't.
wonder where it was going to come back in.
I did, but then there was the caveat to bring it back round. Finally, we have Texas State.
No.
They are, in my eyes, the only 4-win team that I've got definitely going.
Actually, yeah. Yeah, because they've got to play Louisiana Monroe and South Alabama, so they stand a chance.
Oh yeah,
But this is where I think that they may fall down because if Louisiana win their games, Louisiana would have a better record in the conference, which would potentially mean they might be chosen over Texas
Yeah.
State.
yeah.
That'd be my only caveat to that.
They. Oh wait, no, that was someone else I'm thinking of. I reckon they could, but I also, yeah, I don't even know why I put them in the going bowl inside of it. I'm actually not even sure they will. But there was enough chance I had to put someone that was a 4-win team. Next up, we move over to the 5-win teams, though. These teams, some of them have 1 game left, some of them have 2 games left. I will try and do as much as I can as and when. First up, we have Rice.
No,
Declan Rice.
Nick's
No,
had to
no.
dip, so it's just us 3
it's
for
just
now.
suddenly it was like,
Yeah,
Yep.
I think they lose
I
both
don't think
those
I don't
games.
think the Owls. I don't think those Owls make it.
No, they've got North Texas and South Florida. I think they
Yeah.
lose both of those games easy.
This was my note on them. I was like, they have that's arguably for a team in their position, that's the hardest 2 games. Unless you were getting one of those. I mean, the SEC all play FCS teams this week. They're all having a week off doing the cupcake thing that the SEC do. Rice have that problem where like this is as tough as it gets. If you want to make a bowl game, you're not doing it unless one of them just gives up. Like you've lost out on. But I don't see anyone truly giving up, especially
No,
last
because
game of the season.
they're still going to because I mean South Florida are going to likely going to beat UAB, aren't they? Realistically, which
Yeah.
and North Texas, they're going to want to win that game because they still stand a chance. The only way that I can see it would be the South Florida give up against Rice, but I just don't see it. I just think they'll want to finish the season strong. because there's still a chance they could potentially get in. Although I think their chances of making the playoffs are gone.
Yeah.
But I think there's still the potential that they could get into, potentially into the AFC, but although I don't really see it happening. But
Yeah. Next up, we've got UTSA. Their last two games, East Carolina at home and Army at home. They're 3-1 at home so far this year. Their loss at home came at the start of the year to Texas State. Two home games on the bounce. They're not the easiest. They're not the hardest. They could do one of them, particularly the
they
Army
they
one.
have they have beaten Tulane this year as well already at home, which is a massive win. And they could win one of those two games. So yeah, I suppose they could be eligible.
So I think they'll make it in purely because on the basis of they will win one of those games.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm looking at the Army one.
what's Army's record away? 3-2. Not particularly great. East Carolina is 2-2. So I mean, there's all the chance they could lose. They could win both of those games.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But actually, all they need to do is win one. I think they do at least win one of those games. And like you say, they've already beat Tulane at home. The loss was to South Florida, and that was on the road. They beat Charlotte on the road, which I guess everybody does that. Um, it's difficult-ish, but it's not impossible. It's very
Yeah,
much
it's
doable
not
for
out of
these
the
guys.
realms of possibility.
So for me, I've got them going. But I've got them going bowling. Temple.
No, again, they're similar to Rice. Their final two games are just too difficult. They've got to play Tulane and North Texas.
Yeah, that's a tough run in.
Absolutely with you there. That's not happening. Um, Army.
No.
Can they lose both UTSA and Navy? I say UTSA is
Well,
not
Navy
Tulsa,
impossible.
doesn't count, does it?
Tulsa. It'll be Tulsa and UCSA. So they'll beat Tulsa. So yes.
Well, okay, they'll beat Tulsa.
Mm.
0-6 in the conference, Tulsa. So okay, yeah, I'm happy with that one. Say Army are going.
Yeah.
Clemson.
Yes.
Who have they got left?
Furman Paladins.
So the beating Furman, they're in.
Yeah, Furman.
Come on, wow.
Talking of cupcake games.
Yeah. How's that managed to do the schedule? Where's that come from? Wow.
And then they've got South Carolina on the road. But
Yeah.
they only need to beat Furman, which I'm pretty sure, as we've already
Pretty
talked
sure
about,
they're going to get their 6 wins there.
The who's next on the list? NC State. They've got FSU and UNC at home.
But they're winning those.
Maybe.
Sorry,
No, they don't.
FSU away or FSU at home?
FSU at home.
NC State have
I'm
FSU at home. NC State, North Carolina at home.
I'm going to say
No, I think they'll lose against North
yes.
Carolina.
I think they'll beat North Carolina.
I thought we said that North Carolina would get in a nepotism because they'll win both their games.
if they win both their games.
Mm.
I
I'm gonna
don't
say
think they
I've got
would.
North Carolina in not going. They're not winning both
Yeah,
the games. I definitely. Um, I'm gonna say all NC State need to do is win one of them, and they'll do that this weekend.
you think they'll beat the Seminoles?
Everyone else does.
Well, 5 teams
What
haven't.
what Gary said.
Yeah, have we won an in-conference game?
2.
2.
Yeah, I suppose we did turn around. We beat, yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know.
Virginia Tech and Wake Forest.
Yeah, yeah. But Virginia Tech when they
Both,
didn't have a
both,
coach.
both at home as well. Both of those wins are at home. You're 0-3 away.
On that, so I'm saying NC State are going.
Yeah.
They are currently they would make 6 bowl games in a row, which they have not done since the 90s. They are on a very, very good run at the moment. NC State are going to bowl games. Next up, we have Florida State, whom we've just spoken about. They've got NC State and Florida on the road.
They get a win out of one of them.
I reckon. To be fair, I could see you beating the Gators just to piss them off.
Just because it's the rivalry game and we hate them,
Yeah.
and it's like rivalry weekend. I can see us beating the Gators. Just to, why not? We beat Alabama, we'll beat Florida as well. So I think they'll be bowl eligible, and I think because it's the Seminoles, they will get to a bowl. They'll be invited to one of them somewhere because that will be a well supported bowl with lots of people.
As it stands, with your last 2 games being on the road, you are 0-3 on the road.
Got to change somehow, isn't it?
With losses to Virginia, Stanford, and Clemson.
I think they beat North Carolina State personally. I think you beat NC State.
I don't think it's out the realms of possibility that FSU wins one of those. Both of those games can be won. I don't think
Yeah.
it's definitely not out the realms of possibility that FSU win one of them. Um, the From 82 to 2017, Florida State went to 36 consecutive bowl games. Since 2017, they have gone to 3 out of 7. It would be 3 out of 8 or 4 out of 8 this year, depending. So as of late, if Florida State don't make a bowl games, no one's gonna notice. Next up,
Standards.
Next up is Kansas State after losing week 1.
What about Duke?
They're coming.
Well, but just
Duke.
going based
Just going
upon
based on the ACC, yeah, Duke Blue Devils.
it's more going based upon the list that I have, and the next team would be Duke.
Oh, sorry, yeah. I did a jump. Duke. They have North
Yes.
Carolina on the road and Wake Forest at home.
Yeah.
I think they're going. They're beating.
I
Wake
think they beat North Carolina.
Yeah.
They definitely beat Wake Forest.
Well, yeah, they get a win somewhere in those 2 games, so they're definitely
Well,
in.
Wake Forest is 7-3.
Yeah, but still,
They win one of those games anyway, so they're bowl eligible.
On to Kansas State.
go with the Wildcats.
Yes.
Obviously
100%
lost the
yes.
opening game to Iowa State in Dublin. Struggled against North Dakota the week after. Went 1-3 to start the season. They've got Utah at the weekend. They've got Colorado the week after. Now everybody beats Colorado, so I don't see why Kansas State won't at home.
Correct. Yeah.
Next up on the list, Baylor. They've got
Baylor,
Arizona on the road and then Houston at home.
I'm going to say no, but like Baylor have been similar to what we talked. They're so inconsistent. One week they're beating, they beat Kansas State, they've beaten SMU, they've beaten obviously UCF, but they've then also lost to, all the teams that are actually in a better position than them. So I think they're it's not out of the realms of possibility they could beat either Arizona or Houston. I don't think that they will win either game.
No,
I
don't
think they
think they
beat
could.
Arizona.
I don't know. It's at Arizona as well.
Thing
Dunno.
is, again, Baylor are 3-3 at home and 2-2
No,
away.
no.
So you could
Just like you
you
can't
just
even
don't know.
say which way. Yeah, and
Yeah,
yeah.
you don't know which Baylor are going to turn up. I think like I said, it's not out of the realms of possibility that they win one of those two games. But I could also see them losing both of them.
So, apologies. I don't think they'll beat Arizona. I am sorry. I need to go back to my own notes. Arizona, their only home loss was a close one to BYU, and Houston might, and these are in capital letters and it's underlined, be trying for a Big 12 championship.
Yeah, they're
They're not winning
in the
either of
mix
those
there,
games.
so they're not winning.
And Houston are 5-0 away from home.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
So,
They could win one of those two games. It's unlikely they win but any of those games.
so I have listed Baylor as I've listed Baylor as not going, and just what dafty would have predicted them to win the conference earlier this year? Just a dafty, silly Billy.
Just don't know where they got that idea from. I don't know who that was. That was Nick, right? That's why he had to dip out. He knew it was coming.
Just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's very silly Billy. Next up, we have Kansas, the Jayhawks, London 2026
London bound Kansas Jayhawks. Oh,
Now, they have an interesting end to the season.
can I say they are? Oh,
Iowa State and then Utah.
Oh, Iowa
Now,
State.
The only
Eye
issue
up
is
and
that
down, up and down.
they're at Iowa State and their record away is 1-3. Now very similar to Baylor. I think they could beat Iowa State, but I don't think they do.
Yeah, they could, but I don't think they will. No, I don't think they'll beat Iowa State, and I don't see them getting anything against Utah.
This is an Iowa State team that, though they started well and started 5-0, they have gone 4-1 since. And their win was recently, last week at home. That's right, on the road.
Broke the streak.
TCU.
Yeah, they broke the streak, didn't they? So,
but they were on a 4-game losing streak. They lost to Cincy. They lost to Colorado. They lost to BYU. Most people.
They lost to Colorado.
Tech. They lost to Arizona State, which most people tend to do, as we are aware. I think they could genuinely do it. I think they could do it against Iowa State, because Iowa State is still missing some key talent along that roster. It's an interesting one that I think this is their shot. If they're going to make it, it's going to be this weekend. And for the culture, I think they do it because I want them to do it.
We want Kansas to go. We want the team that's coming to London. We want both the teams coming to London next year to play in the Union Jack Classic.
We want them bowl eligible.
We want them both to be bowl eligible. We want them playoff eligible if at all possible. Well, what's lovely about this game is that it is the Iowa State Cyclones, who visited Dublin in week 0, playing the incumbent and the newly, coming to the UK and coming to these shores, Kansas. So there's a lovely UK twist, a UK angle at this one. But yeah, I think they come on, Kansas. We're rooting for the Jayhawks. I reckon they'll get their win this week.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're going to do it. Coach Leopold will all be rooting for you these last couple of weeks to get in there. Next up, though, we have Northwest. I'm going to try and fly through these as quickly as possible. I realise this is taking a bit longer than I imagined.
Well, there
No.
are a
Northwestern.
lot of there are a lot of teams that are on the cusp. Unfortunately,
I
this
had
is the
Yeah,
one
no.
idea
joy.
of what I was going to do for. Oh no, it's okay. I'll fly through this quick. Northwestern.
No.
No, there you go. You
They've
said
got
quick.
Minnesota and Illinois, so no.
Yeah, no. I've got them down as a no. Rutgers.
No,
We've already really talked about them.
unfortunately,
Yes.
we've already.
Yes. I think they will be.
FIU. Florida Internacional.
No, just
They've
because
got.
there's too many Florida teams going already.
Yes.
I think they will. They've got Sam Houston State week 14. Sam Houston State don't beat anybody. I think
If
they'll
only,
do it.
if only somebody, the problem with that is I can't believe anybody would have said that Sam Houston were going to win their conference.
Mhm.
Disgusting. That's why you never trust the Sam. Haven't made a
Bit
bowl
rude.
game since
Wasn't even
29th.
him.
I was waiting. I was waiting to see if you were properly listening and noticed it.
I was listening.
FIU haven't made a bowl since 2019. They'll beat Sam Houston State next week. Guaranteed they're in. First one since. LA Tech. Well, I say LA Tech. Louisiana Tech.
Who's that?
I've got them as
Mm.
a no. They're not going.
They've got Liberty and Missouri State. I don't see them beating Missouri State. The Liberty game will be interesting.
Could be.
It's a
Very, very
50-50
much could
split.
be.
It's a 50 split. But did we say Liberty were going to get in? I think we said no, didn't we? So
We said no.
Yeah, because they're
Um,
not going to beat Kennesaw State.
there you go. So Liberty will win their first. Yeah, no. So then, yeah,
next up,
Louisiana Tech is no.
we have an interesting one. You've got Delaware. Now they have 5 wins.
Yes.
Yeah,
They
Yes.
could
they
be
get in.
bowl eligible. Hang on though.
Yeah,
Hang
it's their
on.
first year, isn't it? So they can't be.
There we go. So, but this is where, because I wanted to bring these up in particular, because there is a caveat to this, and that's a horrible freeze on my camera. The Delaware, if they make 6 games, if they get 6 wins, they can apply to be bowl eligible. They have to apply to be exempt from that first year, which obviously they would have to be. There would have to be not enough teams for bowl games, so they would be exempt. They said, and
Uh,
they've already come out and said that they will do it. They will appeal it.
why would you not? Right? If you have the potential to be exempt and ask for an exemption, you ask, right? Duh. It's like a
I,
no-brainer.
I think they'll be eligible, but I don't think they'll make a bowl game.
Do you think they
It's
don't get the exemption because there are more?
I think there'll
There
be
are.
plenty of teams. Yeah.
I think there'll be plenty of teams that are bowl eligible, and therefore there's not a spot for them.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing, and then it's the rule is there to stop teams from really good FCS teams jumping up to the FBS, making a bowl game, getting all the money and jumping back down again.
Yeah.
Mm.
Which I do understand to an extent. Next up, we have Buffalo, the Bulls. I say yes, they're going bowling.
Yes.
I have to say yes because I put them as winning their conference. So if they're not doing that, they
Then
got to at least get to a bloody bowl game, please.
then we have Miami as Ohio. Miami.
Yes.
I agree. They're going to at least beat Ball State, and that would be if they make it, which they will. They will have made 4 bowl games in a row for the first time in school history.
Hmm?
I believe it was the 70s they made 3 bowl games in a row and haven't gone to 3 bowl games in a row since. Until now, where they could make 4 now. So if they do, congratulations to them. I think they'll do it. Absolutely think they'll do it. Utah State.
Utah State. You. Sorry. Showing my age there.
I say no. They've got to play Fresno State away and Boise State at home, both of them vying for Mountain West Championship. The last time Utah State missed back-to-back bowl games was 2009, 2010, and they're about to do it now.
Okay, yeah.
Who are we looking at?
Utah
Well,
State.
Utah State, Fresno State, and Boise State. They have to play.
No, they don't win either of those.
I don't mean either of those. Is this the one? Is this their last year in the Mountain West as well?
Yes.
Because they're joining the All-State division, right?
They're joining the
I
Pac-12.
was just looking through the list of 5-win teams, and I saw Akron was, and I was like, why have we not talked about them? And then I realized they've played all of their games.
Yeah,
They've only
they're
had
done.
one. They've only had one bye week. That's harsh.
Yeah, they're done.
Bad, but
Wow.
Washington
How
State.
weird is that?
Washington State. Now, I think this is the funniest thing ever, right? They could make a bowl game this weekend, right? Oregon State could lose, and also and they would be the only team out in that conference who's bowl eligible. They could be the only team in that conference to have all the they would have like nearly triple the wins, and still lose the conference because it's only the two of them, and the only two games that Oregon State end up winning are the two games against Washington State. I think that is the funniest thing ever.
Funniest thing ever. But then wouldn't you would expect you're saying Washington State beat James Madison?
I'm not saying that will happen. I've got them going. I've got them going bowling. I'm not.
Yeah.
I've not got them beating James Madison. I think they're going to go 1-1 in the conference.
Yeah.
I agree.
But yeah, it could be the funniest thing that Oregon State win 2 games and they're against Washington State
So,
and therefore
out of
win
interest,
the conference, but don't.
If Washington win, the conference will then be 1-1. Do they then still have a championship game?
I don't
Playoff.
think so.
What the best of the third? You know,
Like
you got to have a
game.
decider. You got to have a decider.
There'll be like a goal difference or point differential
Goal
and
differential or
the
something.
games in the head-to-head and how they worked out, and like you do in the NFL, like you've got the in division.
But
I'm
it
gonna
would
look
be
it up.
funny. It would be funny if they beat Oregon State 10-7.
I'm gonna ask ChatGPT and ask them whilst we're going through the others.
What is the deciding factor on the Pac-12 championship this year?
Between two
If
teams.
Washington beat Oregon State,
10-7.
who wins?
Pac-12.
So while you do that, Kentucky.
Not Western Kentucky, but Kentucky.
Kentucky.
UK. Okay, you. UK.
They've got
No.
Vandy and
No.
they've
Vandy
got
and who?
Vandy and Louisville on the road. Tough
No.
ask.
Ouch.
However, Kentucky
gone on.
have been a pleasantly good surprise this year because most people had them as being the
Bad.
bottom dwellers of the division, one of the bottom dwellers, and they've done all right. And they have beaten. They beat. Oh no, never mind. I was going to say
Yeah,
they
only
beat
2
Tennessee
and 5
Tech,
in a
but-
conference. So.
I'm just going to throw this one out there. As much as, and there is no hate to the University of Kentucky, right? I do respect them as a university. I respect them as an athletic program. However, searching anything to do with the UK and college football, they come up before we do. So what I need them to do is go down to a little bit of irrelevance. So while we jump up, we take
when
over
you do
them and
UK college football, we actually come up first.
Yes. So respect to University of Kentucky, but we're the real UK college football. They did go to 8 in a row and then missed out last year, and now they look like they could miss going back to back, but I think they'll beat one of Vandy or Louisville. Probably Louisville.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Last couple, Mississippi State. They've got 1 game left. Ole Miss.
Oh. Ouch.
That's not happening.
That is not happening.
It's not
That's
happening.
it.
No.
So
That is a harsh finishing. So could you imagine getting this and going, oh, we could be bowling. Who's our last? Oh God. Ouch. Hang on. Oh, so Mississippi State. I was just let me look here. So Missouri State. I was like, why are you?
or
Yeah.
it could be Lane Kiffin saying, fuck it, I'm going to Florida anyway.
Nah.
Let little bro have this one.
You can have it. Yeah.
Um,
Can't.
Georgia Southern. I think they're going. They've got Old Dominion at home, Marshall on the road.
They're winning one of them, I think, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. I think they beat.
Probably
I think they
probably beat
beat Old Dominion
Marshall.
at home. I think they beat Old Dominion at home, and it'll be the first time in their history as well that they have ever gone to 4 bowl games in a row.
Old Dominion are bowl eligible. They're already in, aren't they? Yeah. Yeah, I think
Marshall.
they get one of them. Yeah. They get one of them. Hmm.
Well,
I
we've
think
said already, Appalachian State won't be bowl eligible. They've got 4 wins. They probably won't win either of the last 2 games. One of those is Marshall. We've already said Marshall will win that one. I think for the most part, I think they're in. They only need the one, and that's who we
the
already said.
Thundering Herd. Yeah. Yeah, they're in.
The fun thing is like they Marshall have been bowl eligible for 8 years straight. However, last year, if anyone remembers, they had to cancel their bowl game because so many players left, entered the transfer portal, went for the draft. They did not have enough players to field a team, so they
Mhm.
had to cancel the game, which is just, it's devastating for a team like Marshall. That's a lot of money they miss out on because nobody wants to be there. So the
Nobody can
fact that they've
play.
come back, they've gone back, and I want them to be back in a bowl game, and I want them to actually play it this year for the school.
Yeah.
Finally, Arkansas State.
Well, we already said they're probably likely to be
Yeah.
App State.
Yeah. They'll get one
So
win. They'll be in. Yep. I believe so. I think they're in. Yep.
Lovely. Right, well, those are the teams that have bowl eligibility, but we'll kind of come back to him next week, I think, a little bit with the
Might be
way
less next week.
we've just put him.
There's probably less of them next week.
There'll be a lot less of him, yes, but also like the things we're gonna get to speak about next week are gonna be a bit. It's gonna be a bit all. It's hate week next week, right? It's hate week. The episode's going to be a bit out there and extravagant, right?
It's rivalry week,
But
and yeah,
as we need to do before we, as to wrap up this episode, we're gonna look at college football in the UK this weekend. Now, let me double check one fact that I forgot to check before I did this graphic. Notre Dame are at home this weekend at 8:30, so they'll be on Sky Sports.
they'll
It's
be
not
on
in the
Sky
graphic.
Sports.
So last night I watched a bit of Western Michigan at Northern Illinois. That was fun. Bit of midweek action. Tonight, which is of no use to anybody who's listening to this podcast,
Go to Bulls. Buffalo getting
Miami,
them.
Ohio at Buffalo Bulls. Both teams attempting to be bowl eligible.
Go to Bulls getting bowl eligible tonight, tomorrow morning.
Friday night, we have Hawaii at UNLV at half past
Warriors.
10 in the evening.
Go to Warriors.
Then we have Florida State Seminoles at North Carolina State on DAZN at 1 a.m. on Friday night.
Might not be staying up for that one.
Yeah.
Might still be working for that one. Don't know. No, work should be finished.
I bloody hope so at 1 in the morning. For your sake, Gary.
Yeah.
2 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, it is college game day, as is everybody's favourite. 5 o'clock, we have Rutgers at Ohio State, Minnesota at Northwestern, Miami at Virginia Tech, Missouri at Oklahoma. Quarter to 6, Charlotte at Georgia. 7 o'clock on the Mountain West app, we have Nevada at Wyoming. 8:30, USC at Oregon, Michigan State at Iowa, Arkansas at Texas, Kentucky at Vanderbilt, and 9 o'clock is Michigan at Maryland. Midnight is Nebraska at Penn State, Pitt at Georgia Tech. midnight, Illinois at Wisconsin, Tennessee at Florida, and then at 3:30 in the morning, Washington at UCLA. Which I don't think is quite right. It might.
Seems very late.
No. Well, that's a West Coast game, isn't it? So it's
It
absolutely
is
right for
West
that time.
Coast.
But I feel like
They're not playing.
oh no, I'm thinking of a completely different game. I apologize.
Game of the week there, USC Oregon.
Absolutely could be. There are a couple of games though I will bring up in 1 second. What we need to do again, because I know I'm wary of the time, the third iteration of this college football playoff rankings came out last night.
We're a Navy.
And let me just get the Twitter up. There we go. So the rankings were as follows: in going from 25th to 1st, Arizona State, Tulane, Houston, Missouri, Illinois. In 20th, Tennessee, Virginia, Michigan, Texas, Georgia Tech. Then we've got 15 USC, 14 Vanderbilt, 13 Miami, 12 Utah, 11 BYU, 10 Alabama, 9 Notre Dame, 8 Oklahoma, 7 Oregon, 6 Ole Miss, 5 Texas Tech, 4 Georgia, 3 Texas A&M, 2 Indiana, and 1 Ohio State.
One Ohio State.
The playoffs, as it stands, would be Tulane at Texas Tech with the winner playing Georgia, Notre Dame at Oklahoma with the winner playing Ohio State, Miami at Ole Miss with the winner playing Texas A&M, and Alabama at Oregon with the winner playing Indiana.
I don't understand why Tulane are in there.
Tulane shouldn't be in there. There's two teams above them.
It's
It's either Navy or North Texas.
Yeah.
They're the only two teams that it can be.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be Tulane. It should be one of those other two teams.
I would say it should probably be North Texas, given the fact that they're 9-1.
9-1. Yeah, I get or Navy because they're 6-1 in the conference, but yeah, 9-1 North Texas, Mean Green should be in there ahead of Tulane. Yeah, make it make sense.
It's an odd one, and I want to mention this, by the way. Like, I was watching the release last night, and it was a bit of a weird, crappy release because they were at Madison Square Gardens while this whatever top little tournament thing was going on for college basketball, and Reese Davis is there, and I was doing it every week as he normally does. I don't like this releasing one every week thing because all it does is generate. It's a headline thing. It's a let's control and some stories and some narratives thing.
Clickbait.
That's all it is.
That's all it is. Yeah.
It means nothing right now. The more I think about it, the less doing this makes any sense. Apart from we want to dominate headlines.
It's a storyline, isn't it? They can talk about.
It's just like, oh, there's nothing to talk about. College games are just playing through. NBA, all the other stuff, all the other sports are getting a bit of headlines. Let's throw something out to make sure everyone remembers us.
What I think is one of the oddest parts of it is like, I saw this argument said that it entices certain teams, they have to win this game because they could jump up a few places, they might drop down if they lose or whatever than that. Like, you should be wanting to win these games anyway. I mean,
they don't need incentivization just because they may or may not be currently ranked as a team that will get in the playoffs.
Yeah.
If next week you are 23rd, right? Realistically, because if you're 23rd and you're in the SEC or you're in the Big Ten, that's an indication that you're not good enough to be near the champion, like in the championship. You're already out of the championship game
To
because
be
there's two or
honest,
three teams ahead of you. Like,
if you're 15th, you're unlikely to be in the playoffs at this stage.
right? So
Unless you're
all
a
you're
G5
doing,
team.
you're bowl eligible. You're very, 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 very unlikely to make it into the playoffs. Why? What does that leave for your last game of this? That makes that last season of the game. Whereas you could be thinking you're 10-2, but realistic in everyone's head you're 23rd, but you're 10-2. Oh, so you're 9-2. You still think in your head without knowing it, we still have to win it just in case, because we
Mm.
could be higher up. Whereas now you know that you're not high enough to win. You're not gonna jump up enough. Not enough people are gonna jump down. It's I don't get it. I don't like it anymore. The more I think about it, the less I like it.
Yep.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
it's putting false narratives and false things on.
I honestly think what they should do is stick with the rankings as they do every single week, the AP polls. Stick with that until week 14, in which
And
maybe going into that 14th week they release one.
just
Because
the
after that,
final one. That's it.
yeah, because after that, you know who's likely going to be there. It's going to be a
Yep.
championship team, so one of the two championship teams for each of the conferences, and then someone from the group of five. And I just
yeah.
think it then is much more accurate.
AP
But
polls.
it doesn't generate headlines, it doesn't generate clickbait, and therefore it doesn't make
That's the
noise.
thing that you don't get half an hour on ESPN where everybody's watching that thing. I know it that I
It's not
don't
just the
like it.
half an hour on showing it. It's the
Constant
multitude of
retweets
hours
and
throughout the week of people talking and developing storylines that come with it.
No, no, it's like that's what I'm saying.
and
So
rage
it's the
bait and
marketing
all the
thing, but
people who are like, "Rah, rah, why
the
is my
ratings
team
you
not
get on
here?"
ESPN, the stories that come out of it, that's all it does. It doesn't do it. I don't think that having the rankings. I obviously think that like the way the playoffs work, every game does have the importance of the to win or to not lose. But I think having the rankings coming out so as much as they do takes some of that away.
Yeah,
Some of it away. But what I wanted to do was just I'm going to run through a couple of games that I want to watch that are on my radar this week. I want to throw to you guys to do the same. First up, though, I've got Duke at UNC on the basis of this is for the Victory Bell Trophy. This is also regularly considered a much more intense rivalry in basketball, as both schools have traditionally been better at basketball. But
yep.
this is for the Victory Bell Trophy. There have been 111 meetings all time between the two. UNC have dominated the series, but Duke won the last one. Um,
Duke will probably
Pitt,
win this one.
Pitt at Georgia Tech. I'm gonna get the graphic back up real quick, by the way, just so because I need to remember which ones are on the zone. So these are getting bad. If they're on the zone, I'll say. Pitt at Georgia Tech, which is
Is late on Saturday,
on
first thing
there at
Sunday morning,
midnight.
all the way down.
Georgia Tech 6-1, Pitt a 5-1. There are conference. This is but in their respective conferences. There are conference implications on this game. Cal at Stanford. This is nicknamed the big game and the winner gets the Stanford Axe. 127 meetings all time. Cal have won the last four, but do you know what I think is my favorite part of this game? Not the fact that the winner gets an axe, which is fucking cool. Like lads, the winner
They
gets
used
an
to do
axe.
that
This
with
is
the Paul
cool.
Bunyan one, didn't they? They used to give the Paul Bunyan axe, but they've stopped giving an axe now because they don't think it's a good idea.
Where is Stanford? Not in the rankings or
California.
anything like.
Oh, I
But
think which conference?
what? No, no, no. What? Where are they located?
San Fran.
Correct. What's Cal short for?
California.
California
Yeah.
Bears, I think, right?
So
So
like what we said, this is a rivalry.
this is
Deep,
a
very close. Two teams very close to each other, right on the west coast.
state rivalry, yeah, you could think so,
Yeah.
yeah.
everyone can enjoy this Pacific Coast matchup in the Atlantic Coast Conference. This is
That's
a
what.
really cool Atlantic Coast Conference matchup game. Um, I needed to bring that bit up because I know
Yep.
we've spoke about it for how daft it is, but the fact that this is a Pacific Coast rivalry in the Atlantic Coast Conference is baffling still.
We'll get used to it sometime eventually.
Welcome to 2025, ladies and gentlemen.
Mhm.
Conference realignment. You've got to love it.
Kansas at Iowa State is a good game. Is a game I'm looking at this weekend. 78 meetings all time. Kansas have won the last three. We've got London 26 at Dublin 25,
And we'll be following that on stats somewhere, correct, right?
will not be missing the statistics coming through on Stat
Mhm.
Broadcast.
Yes.
Minnesota at Northwestern, 98 meetings since 1892 in this game. So this one's a very, very historical rivalry. That one is on DAZN. USC at Oregon, as you've mentioned there, Gary, 63 meetings before. Oregon have won the last three. This was a big rivalry game in the Pacific, in the
The
Pac-12.
old Pac-12, yeah.
This is the first time they will ever meet in the Big Ten. Obviously, they
There you
joined
go.
last year, didn't play last year. So they're
First
the
Big
first time
Ten
they're in
meeting.
the Big Ten. Mississippi State at Kennesaw State.
Oh? Who do you? Sorry, unsure.
Yeah, I'm just double checking because Mississippi State's in the bloody SEC.
Oh.
Missouri State, sorry, Missouri State. Um, both teams 5-1 in Conference USA. Kennesaw State took the first loss in the conference last week against Jack State. Screw Jack State. They desperately need. Both teams will be looking to try and get into the Conference USA Championship game. That's a fun game to keep an eye on. It won't be on DAZN, but again, there are implications, conference implications this weekend. New Mexico State at UTEP, the battle of the I-10. 101 meetings historically between the two teams. Hawaii at UNLV. Both are 4-2 in the Mountain West. There are conference championship implications. And would you like to know what trophy they're playing for?
Do tell us, Fletch, quickly.
The Golden Pineapple.
Yeah.
Of course they are.
Golden Pineapple. I'm appreciative of that trophy. Missouri at Oklahoma is they compete for the Tiger Sooner Peace Pipe.
Do they sit around and smoke it at the end of the game?
You went very different to the way I did, Gary.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the way you went.
Mm-hmm.
97 games historically between the two. Final two, Kentucky at Vanderbilt. There have been 97 games in history between the two. It's a rivalry, not one that's deep, not one that's filled with a lot of hate, but one that's been played a lot of times. And finally, Marshall at Appalachian State, the game nicknamed the Old Mountain Feud.
Mm-hmm. Appalachian Mountains. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
So
Here
again,
we go.
I like to bring forward games right now that have conference implications or that are rivalry games. And even if they're not traditional rivalry games with a name, if they've been played like 75 or more times in history, that's a rivalry. That's a game that you need to keep an eye on.
That's a game. It's been around. It's been around. Got to give it its dues.
Gary, just give us a quick one. What's going on with the Europe games this week? Well, who is coming to Europe?
So Kansas, as we've already talked about, are facing off at Iowa State, which is going to be an interesting one. As we mentioned before, the Iowa State Cyclones who came over and played in Dublin did not do too well there. Now they're facing off against Kansas, who are coming over next year. Should be an interesting one. This could be the time that Kansas wins their bowl eligibility. Fingers crossed. And then the other visitors, Arizona State. Remind me who Arizona State are playing this week. Apologies, I had it a second ago, and now I've lost it. They have Colorado coming to town. Well, they are off to Colorado, so ideally a nice comfy win for Arizona State as well. So both teams hopefully getting back on winning ways.
Lovely, lovely, lovely.
Don't forget to get your tickets for the Union Jack Classic. Tickets are on sale, and we are activating the kingdom.
Yes. Yes. Right, lads, wary of time. I think it's about time that we do wrap up. We are. Yeah, we've got a big weekend of college football coming up. Remember to join the Discord server. I'll be in there on Saturday, I think, depending on my daughter and what's going on there. But I will probably try and be in the Discord watching some of the games on Saturday. Please come and join us, come and talk to us, come and do you have to join us just for fun, guys. You can come and just interact with us in general in the chats. See you on social media. We will see you around, and yeah, we'll see you next week for another episode of College Football UK.
To get ready for rivalry weekend, or hate weekend, as it's so nicely called.
Yeah, boy.